Okay, let's look at chapter 10, guys. Page 40, chapter 10. 7.1 shows the structure of human heart. R and T are blood vessel of heart. So this is the human heart. Name, valve, S, and state the function. Okay, we're going to label everything from here. Okay, we have to know how does the blood flows. Okay, your blood flows. We have oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood. Because in this part, I forgot to add with the question of SA node and AV node. You have to do it by yourself, SA node and AV node. Oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood. Okay, how does it work? When you look at the heart, left is right, right is left. If this is to the body cell, it means that this is oxygenated blood. The blood goes in, the blood goes out. Red color is oxygenated blood. The one in blue color, blood goes in, blood goes out, is deoxygenated blood. We follow the valve direction. To label this in name, the blood that comes from the lung, as long as they are from the lung to the lung, we call this as pulmonary. This is pulmonary artery or vein. The one that transports oxygenated blood. Pulmonary vein, correct, is the only vein that transports oxygenated blood. To your body cell is called aorta. The other part, this is from your all parts of body is called vena cava. This is to the lung. We call this as pulmonary artery. Pulmonary artery is the only artery that transports the oxygenated blood. Your sinoatrial node is located somewhere around here on your right atrium. This is your sinoatrial node. Sinoatrial node is to initiate your heartbeat. So you have a contraction is from your sinoatrial node. As a pacemaker, correct? They are pacemaker. They ask you to label the name of the valve S. Valve S is at your, this is left is right, right is left. So this is your right atrium. So what is this valve called? This valve is called bicuspid or tricuspid or semilunar valve. Which one? This is a tricuspid valve, correct? S is called tricuspid valve. How do you want to remember as tricuspid valve? Remember, this is the right side, right, RI, RI. The other part, it will be bicuspid valve. Right, right, okay? What is the function of tricuspid valve? Since they are so specific, they ask you tricuspid valve. Then you have to write to prevent the blood from flowing back to where? To prevent the blood from flowing back to this area called what? This is the right atrium, correct? To prevent the blood from flowing back to the right atrium. Prevent blood from flowing back to right atrium. Okay, to right atrium. Okay, next, explain the differences between the structure of blood vessel R and blood vessel T. Blood vessel R is pulmonary vein. Blood vessel R is vena cava. Then the other one is pulmonary vein. Can you draw in table easier? R and T. R is called aorta. The labeling is aorta. T is called pulmonary vein. Pulmonary vein. Okay, by writing this, you get marks also. But the question says structure. Structure means that the things that we can see from a diagram is called structure, right? First, is aorta a vein or aorta is an artery? Aorta is a vein or artery. Correct. Aorta starts with A, so it's an artery. This is artery. Artery, And then pulmonary vein, obviously this is a vein. As an artery, they have thick or thin muscle. Thick or thin. Muscular wall. Of course, it's thick. Correct, guys. They have a thick muscular wall. Why do you need to have a thick muscular wall? Wait, guys. Wait. Okay? Okay. Next, they want to withstand higher blood pressure. Very good. Okay? They want to withstand high blood pressure is to prevent them from bursting. Correct? Okay. Next, we talk about vein. Vein, they have thin wall. Okay? They have thin wall. Why they have the thin wall? Because they don't need to withstand high blood pressure. It's just a normal blood pressure, yeah? Okay, the other thing that we can talk about the lumen size. Artery has a larger or smaller lumen. Artery has a, okay, it's a smaller lumen, correct? Small lumen, okay, they have a small lumen. Why? Because usually for artery, they have a higher blood pressure, right? So you're gonna say they increase resistance of blood. This one has a larger lumen. Larger lumen don't have to increase resistance because they have a lower blood pressure. Okay, this one, they have a lower blood pressure. That's why they don't need to have a small lumen. Another thing that we can talk about is actually the valve. Which one has a valve? Artery has a valve or vein has a valve? Sino-atrial node is SAN. All right, they have a valve in the vein. So over here, you can see that this one, no valve. This one, presence of valve. Okay, what is the function of valve? Is to prevent backflow of blood. Or you can say to allow blood to move in one direction. Prevent backflow of blood. Okay, so this is the differences. Okay, you don't need to write that much, but you can write whichever one that you want to write lah, guys. Okay, up to you lah, whichever that you want to write. Okay, then next question. Can you see oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood? Cannot, because you cannot see from a diagram. You have to write something that you can see from this diagram, guys. Try to answer in the group chat, guys, because I cannot flip every message that you all send me in your private message. So you all send the message in everybody, so I can see your message straight away. Sino-atrial node is SAN. AVN is atrioventricular node. Okay, SAN and AVN, yeah? Okay, now done already. Next one. Okay, next question. Mrs. M has a doctor checkup after experiencing fatigue and chest pain. The result of checkup revealed that Mr. M has suffered from a failure of valve S. The doctor suggested that Mr. M replace valve S with artificial valve, as shown in diagram 7.2. Justify the artificial valve to replace valve F. Justify. Do you think he needs to replace this valve? Because it's not working already. He don't have a normal valve. Failure of valve S. Do you think replacement of valve is something that you need to have? Justify, right? No, then the person died already, Huawei. Of course, yes, right. Okay, this one you have to say yes, because it says failure. And then he says that he's experiencing fatigue and chest pain. So your better answer is yes, he has to go through. Just die. Why you also negative one? Okay, of course you have to say yes, right? So that they can prevent the backflow of blood. Why you're so negative? Okay, so you have to say agree. The artificial valve function like tricuspid valve when right ventricle contracts. The valve closes to prevent backflow of blood. Just sell his heart. Oh, right now you are what? You are the doctor, is it? You want to sell his heart. You are the doctor. You want to do a black market doctor, so you sell his heart away. Okay, 9.2 shows an angioplasty coronary procedure to dislodge the blocked artery in the patient. Explain the procedure. Actually, this is not in your textbook, but this question came out a lot of time in exam, actually. So they asked about the procedure. Okay, what is a stent? A stent is like a spring. So imagine this is the blood vessel that's blocked, right? Okay, maybe it's like that. There's a lot of things in between. So they put a spring, they open up the area. So as they open up the area here, that is what we call as a stent. Is to make sure that the blood flow can go normally. The blood pressure can go like normally. They want to remove the plaque. The plaque are usually the cholesterol lah. Okay. Okay, now to explain in sentence, we have to say involved in inserting the stent into blocked artery. A small balloon is placed at the end of stent, because in the diagram you can see, right, they put a balloon inside. A stent is like a spring kind of thing, correct? Okay, next you're gonna say balloon is inflated to widen the lumen in blocked artery. Enable blood to flow normally after stent is inserted. A stent is like a spring kind of thing. Hmm. You are the strongest bio teacher I've ever seen. 4.5 hours already and you're still going strong. 4.5 hours is not my longest, guys. My longest is 9 hours. And the student have to attend 9 hours of class. If write the name of disease, you get marks. You don't get the marks because this is a procedure. Can I write reduce the blood pressure? Normalize. Reduce blood pressure to normal range. This is the correct. This is because the lumen too small. You want to make sure it's bigger. Okay, you want to make sure they're bigger. So that's why you put the stent inside. Can? Okay, now next, the following statement are related to the health problem of a newborn baby. A few minutes after delivery, the baby turned blue and had to rush into emergency room. After the checkup, the doctor found that the baby heart had no blood vessel R. What is blood vessel R again? Blood vessel R is aorta. Got no aorta. This baby got no aorta, guys. R is aorta. So they don't have aorta. No aorta. Does it remove the plaque? Yes. The stent just now, they remove the plaque, which is the cholesterol. Based on the situation above, discuss how this problem could happen to the baby. So when there is no aorta, why would the face turn blue color? Because you see the baby turn blue. Aorta function is to do what? Aorta function is to transport what? No oxygen. Transport oxygen to all parts of body. Right now, the person got no oxygen. That's why the baby turned blue. That's why they call this as blue baby. Really, it's called blue baby. The baby has a little bit blue color. It's called not like Smurf, not like Avatar, not that blue color. The blue color is like your vein blue color. This kind of blue color, not like Avatar, guys. Not so serious like Avatar. So we have to say the blood circulation is incomplete. Oxygenated blood cannot be transported to all parts of body. Body cell cannot receive oxygen and nutrients. If you want to talk about more, you can talk about they cannot carry out cellular respiration. Yes, so this is your answer. It's called blue baby. Sometimes in exam, they will ask you about the septum defect. Actually, septum defect is the same, but it's just lesser oxygen. Septum defect is where the mixture of oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood. They also have reduced in cellular respiration. Lesser energy will be produced. Got treatment for this aorta, artificial aorta. Maybe they can transplant one of the blood vessel from your body. Receive spell wrongly. Oh yes. You're auto-correct lah, guys, okay? If I spell wrongly, you're auto-correct. Okay, you're auto-correct. Okay, thanks. Okay. How come it's still wrong? Okay. EIF. Eh? Okay, receive. Okay, then how the septum defect treatment we put in? For septum treatments, we put stem cells. Septum treatment, no need to put stem cells, just put artificial wall. It's an artificial tissue to be placed at the septum. No need to have stem cells. Stem cells are usually for cancer. Yeah, usually we treat cancer like in biology. Okay, now done with this. Next question. Next question is we learn about lymphatic system. Lymphatic system, I think in Selangor paper they will ask you about this. So you all take note lah, okay? I think it's a structural question, not an ACA question. Chapter 10 is not ACA also. 10.2 shows the human circulatory system and lymphatic system. Describe the formation of a limb in healthy person. In the question, they ask you to describe the formation of limb. This is a very common question to be asked in exam. And you have to learn the labeling first. Okay, now first, in your lymphatic system, we have three different blood vessels, three different parts. We start with blood capillary. This is the arterial end. This is the venous end. We call this as blood capillary. Okay, the first location is blood capillary. Second, we have the space. Okay, a lot of space here. Maybe I label here lah. The space, can you see in between got a lot of space? Number 2, this is the intercellular space. Okay, number 3 is the lymph capillary. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we have 3 parts. Yeah, in these 3 different locations, we have 3 different fluid. In blood capillary, what is the blood fluid? What is the fluid called in your lymphatic system? It is called blood plasma. Okay, it is called blood plasma. It's not blood, but blood plasma. And then in intercellular space, the fluid is called what? The fluid is called, correct, it's called tissue fluid. Very good, it's called tissue fluid. In the lymph capillary, it's called what? In lymph capillary, it's called lymph. Now, actually, everything forms from your blood capillary. Everything comes from the blood capillary. At your blood capillary, we have arterial end. At arterial end, because the lumen is smaller, they created a pressure. What is the pressure called? At the arterial end of your blood capillary, there's a pressure being created. Correct? It's called hydrostatic pressure. Very good. Okay, they have increase of hydrostatic pressure. This hydrostatic pressure, they will force most of the fluid. Okay, most is the word. Most fluid, not all fluid. Why is it most fluid? Because there are 3 things cannot diffuse across it. Number 1, don't have what? Don't have? Correct. Number 1, don't have red blood cell. Number 2, don't have platelets. Number 3, don't have plasma protein because they are too what? Too large. Very good. They are too large to diffuse across, but the fluid cannot remain in the space. It causes them to have edema. To prevent them from having edema, we have to return back. So the tissue fluid right now, they have to return back. Okay, maybe I use different color. Okay, return back. Okay, you return back how many percent? Or maybe I draw here. Return back here at the venous end. Correct. 85 to 90%. They will return, okay, to the venous end. Why at the venous end? Because at the venous end, they have a lower hydrostatic pressure. They have a lower hydrostatic pressure. So you left what? You left 10 to 15%. The 10 to 15%, it will go to the lymph capillary as a lymph. When it goes along the lymph, because what is the difference between lymph capillary and lymphatic vessel? Lymph capillary is smaller. This is the capillary. Vessel is the taker one. When all of the capillary join together, we call this as lymphatic vessel. So lymphatic vessel has to go back to your blood capillary. When your lymph is moving, your blood is flowing. When your blood is flowing, your lymph is moving. You have to move 2 together at the same time. You cannot just move lymph. There's no blood. It's not possible, guys, unless you have elephantiasis, which is lymphatic filariasis. Unless you have the insect's bite, got worm inside, then maybe your blood is flowing, but your lymph is not flowing. But as a normal human, both things has to move together. Venous means smaller version of vein. Arterial means smaller version of artery. Okay, so venous means smaller version of vein. This is a very common asked question in the exam, guys. Very, very common asked question. Whenever they ask about lymph, they will ask about this. Sometimes it's 3 marks, 4 marks, 5 marks. So to explain your answer is always the same one, guys. At the arterial end of blood capillary, It has higher hydrostatic pressure due to differences in size of lumen. These forces most of the fluid to diffuse into intercellular space. Intercellular space as tissue fluid. Besides, red blood cell, platelets, plasma protein, because they are too large. Okay, next, 85 to 90% of fluid returned back to blood capillary at venial end due to low hydrostatic pressure. Due to low hydrostatic pressure. Then we can see 10 to 15% of fluid diffuses into lymph capillary as lymph. Next, lymph will flow into larger lymphatic vessel and finally return to blood circulatory system. Wait, that's a question again. Need to compare high hydrostatic pressure with the intercellular space. You only have to write the word that has a high hydrostatic pressure. Don't need to write the space. Hydrostatic pressure is a pressure produced where the size of the lumen is different. It's called hydrostatic pressure. Will this be AC question? Selangor, no lah. I mean, not AC. I think it's structural question for this one. I think this is a structural question, but not AC because this chapter is not AC for Selangor paper. But still, you have to know, right? What does the percentage stands for? Is the amount of fluid that is being returned. Because if the fluid remains in the space, they get a disease called edema. So the fluid has to go back. So this space cannot always have fluid, means cannot always have a lot of fluid. So they have to return so that your body won't get swollen. You don't get edema. Which chapter will come out? I haven't even teach the chapter for AC, guys. Maybe we'll be right now. We end the class at 2 a.m. Okay. Okay, can I use Chinese to describe the process? Can I give me a moment for those who want Chinese explanation? 这个 process 很简单吧？你要3个东西，第一个你要懂的就是它有那个blood capillary，第二个是 intercellular space，第三个是那个 lymphatic capillary，一定是这样子的排法。所以在 blood capillary 里面呢，我们有 blood plasma， 在这个 space 里面呢有 tissue fluid， 在这里呢我们会有的是 lymph。其实我们的 lymph 呢，就是来自于我们的 blood plasma 的。因为它的来源都是来自于它，其实是在我们的 blood capillary 里面，我们有一个 pressure。为什么会有这个 pressure？ 因为这个 arterial end 它的洞比较小，当洞比较小的时候，它的 pressure 就会比较高，它就会闭 ，OK， 它会闭全部的 fluid 进去这个 space 里面。如果有3个不能够进去，第一个就是 red blood cell， 第二个是 platelet， 第三个是 plasma protein。 因为它们太大个了。可是如果你的液体呢一直在这个地方的话 right 你会水肿。我们不要水肿吗？这样怎么办？我们就要把 fluid 让它可以回去我们的血管，回去用那个 venule end 回去啊。所以我们有85到98%回去，剩下的10到15%呢，要进到去我们的 lymph 里面。因为这个地方呢不可以一直有 fluid 的，一直有 fluid 的话就会水肿。所以这是我们的 lymphatic system。当我们的血在流的时候，我们的 lymph 就会在流，它是一起的。如果你的血液循环不好，你的 lymph 就会不好。好，那一定是一起的，这个是 OK。这就是我们的 lymphatic system 啊。OK，可以，OK done。Okay, now, okay, everybody done with this? Your hydrostatic pressure is usually used in blood vessel. Yes, usually it's used in blood vessel. How many AC question? You for normal paper is 3 AC lah. So the one of the AC is in chapter 8, ma, right? And then there are 2 AC is at the back of the chapter. What is lymphatic system for? Number 1, lymphatic system is to allow you to have a lot of white blood cell, which is your lymphocytes. It helps in defense mechanism. Number 2, they will complement your blood circulatory system. Means they will help your blood to flow back. Means your lymph has to flow back to blood. Your blood has to flow back to your lymph. It's called complements the blood circulatory system. Third, lymphatic system is to transport lipid-soluble substances. Because where can you find your lymph defects in this diagram? In Form 4, Chapter 9. Just now I didn't mention about this, but to make sure that you all can remember, we have a villus over here, right? Now this is the blood capillary. Blood capillary. This is the lacteal. This is the lymphatic vessel. In your villus, we have to absorb different type of substances. Blood capillary is to absorb water-soluble substances, such as vitamin B-C. Okay, lacteal is to absorb lipid-soluble substances, which is the ADEK fatty acid glycerol. As you can see, your lacteal is connected to your lymphatic system. So when you transport lipid-soluble substances, it will eventually go to your lymphatic vessel. That is the function of lymphatic system. You can see that everything has L here. Lipid, lacteal, lymphatic, blood capillary, vitamin B-C. Easy to remember? So everything is to transport this. Okay, Ken? Okay. Okay, now done already. Okay, next part. Okay, done now. Okay. If you haven't finished, you can screenshot this thing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, next. Diagram 10.3 shows the legs of a pregnant woman. Ankle, feet, and fingers often swell a little in pregnancy as the body is holding more water than usual. Explain how swellings of leg occurs in pregnant women. Actually, pregnant women, people who are paralyzed, they have this problem. It's called edema. But for pregnant women, after they deliver the baby, then it should be fine because when the person is pregnant, the movement are quite limited because it's very heavy to carry a baby, right? So that's why the baby has amniotic fluid. The fluid also increases in volume of the water. The edema is the water retention. Means 水肿 lah. It's called edema lah. So it's very normal to pregnant women. To explain in sentence, we have to talk about because the blood flow is not good. The lymph accumulated in the space between the cell. So when there's accumulation of fluid, it causes them to have edema. Now, this is also a very common asked question in exam. But I don't think it's easy question. To other school, maybe yes. To Selangor, Selangor is no lah. Other school, yes lah. So you're gonna say extra water tends to gather at lowest part of body when the pregnant woman has been standing a lot. The next, growing fetus in uterus put pressure on pelvic blood vessel. The pressure slow the return of blood into blood circulation. This causes accumulation of fluid in the space between tissues or body cell also can. Then we can see this leads to edema. Then we can talk about the baby. Actually, edema is not dangerous to the fetus because the baby cannot feel it. So I'm going to say edema is not harmful to the fetus or the mother. The only problem right now, it's not comfortable because you feel like your leg is always swollen. So you're going to say but it might cause discomfort to the pregnant woman. Can it be cured? This is not a disease actually for pregnant mother. After they deliver the baby, then gone already one actually. So it's not a disease. Most of the women just go through this. Most of the pregnant women goes through this. Pelvic means hip is called pelvic, yeah? Hip is called pelvic. So, okay, this is chapter 10. Anybody has question in chapter 10? Okay? Okay, chapter 10? No question?